Okay, thanks a lot for a kind introduction. Great to be here and to talk to you a bit about our research project, which is called Store&Go, and which is actually was rightly mentioned. It's a European-wide research project which we have just initiated almost 2 or 2.5 years ago, and are more or less coming to an end. And what I will do in the next couple of minutes to present you a few of the first conclusions, first of results out of the project. But before doing that, let me go a bit back and why did we initiate this one? And probably the graph you see on the left hand is very familiar to all of you. It clearly shows where we have to be with CO2 reduction in the next couple of years, or basically in 2050, it's almost zero. And it goes for all industries, and it also goes for us, for the gas industry. I think we have to reduce CO2 emissions from gas to zero, which basically means there is no fossil gas any longer in the system. I think what we need in doing so is we need some innovative technologies which really can be able to help us, to support us, and to bring the energy transition forward in the next couple of years. And what we see, and that's also part of our project, is this power-to-gas technology is a key for that one, a key element, a corner element. And it can be used to store energy, it can be used as clean fuel, the product that comes out of power-to-gas, it can be used for heating installations, the product, and of course it can be used in the chemical industry or in the industrial sector. And that's an important aspect is that shows this graph here. That's actually from a EU report, A Clean Planet for All, and what it indicates that even in 2050, a lot of gas will be in the energy system in Europe. I think as of today, we have almost 30% electrons, which is electricity, and we have almost 70% of gas in the system. This will, of course, change over time, and we believe that 40 to 50% natural gas will be used in future in the system. And again, this means this 40 to 50% of natural gas has to be green gas, it has to be renewable gas. What we did based on that one, we asked the European Commission to support storage research project. We were successful in 2016. We created the project Store&Go. Who are we? We are 27 partners from 6 European countries. It started in March 2016. It goes until February 2020. And the key of this project is it's not only desktop research, it's construction of 3 operational power-to-gas demonstration plants which we have done, and I will come back to that in a minute. Substantial funding, 28 million euros, that's what we got as funding to push this research work forward. Also a bit to mention, it's not only European members part of the project, it's also Switzerland joined us in our research cooperation. A bit on the demo sites, which are all up and running right now. Actually, there's 3 sites. There's one in Germany. It's operated by Uniper. It's close to Berlin. Size is 1 megawatt. It uses, it also has a methanation site to produce natural gas or synthetic gas from hydrogen. That's actually what all the sites have. It's not only producing hydrogen, but it's also producing hydrogen, and if needed, also to produce methane, synthetic methane. The second demo site is in Italy, not too far away from Naples. It's a smaller size plant, and it has a bit of a speciality that this is not only producing natural or synthetic gas in gaseous form, it has also a small liquefaction unit to liquefy the gas, which makes it much easier to transport gas or to use it in the end as a fuel in case you don't have pipelines. And the other plant is in Switzerland. That's in the Solothurn area in Switzerland. It's also a bit of speciality in that plant when it comes to methanation. It uses a biological methanation system, which is quite unique there. All these plants have been installed. They're all up and running, and we work on that one to find out what technical results are, what economics are. So in total, just what do we cover? We cover in our project, of course, the electrolyzers, which is in these plants, producing of H2, methanation as part of our project. Part I already mentioned is use of LNG, if necessary, is needed. And of course, that goes into the gas grid, the gas, if not converted to LNG, and then it can be used in industry, mobility, electricity, and or as heat. There are a couple of, and I don't go into that one with all the details. There are a couple, of course, research activities coming across. We call them cross-cutting activities. It's technical analysis, economical analysis. It's also a question how to integrate the systems or how to integrate power-to-gas concepts into the energy grid. And I think that's also a very important part, is reducing barriers. As we have learned as of today, the regulatory system in member states, but especially also on the European Union level, is not really in favor of power to gas. And we also look into what can this technology bring in the future and how it can be contribute to the energy transition in future. We call it market update. Why does it make sense from our point of view, and why is it so important to have systems in place that can produce molecules, renewable gases? I think it's quite obvious molecules are much easier to store than electrons. Just to look into this graph when it comes to storage capacity, huge storage capacity, which we already have in the system, that and the storage capacity can be used in form of hydrogen or in form of methane. So much easier than to use molecules. Second thing, probably even more important, is that we have the gas system in place, the European gas system. It's several million kilometers of pipeline. It's 100 billion cubic meter of gas storage. And to bit it back to what was said before, because it's either to establish a hydrogen network. We don't believe that this really does make sense, but it's more to use the existing gas networks, the existing gas infrastructure. Of course, we come to the issue that the existing gas infrastructure can take up hydrogen only to a certain level. Maybe it's 10%, maybe it's 20% that needs to be seen. But we have technology in place, which is methanation, converting hydrogen into synthetic natural gas, to help us to overcome these hurdles. But the most important point there is the system is there, the system is ready for use. And as it was already mentioned, it's a system that goes across Europe from Spain to Poland, and from Norway to southern parts of Italy. So it's a good system to transport all the renewable gases in future. Why do we think that this all makes sense and is doable in future? And let me explain a bit on the cost side. Of course, we have in our research project a lot of analysis and a lot of simulation on how will investment cost for the plants or for power to gas develop over time. We believe that we will see significant cost reductions. By now, it's still a technology which is starting. Of course, electrolyzer technology is not new; it's already there. But economics of scale, learning curves will drive costs down significantly over time. And that goes for both, as we see it. It goes for the electrolyzer. The larger the plants will become over future, the less costly they will be. And it goes also for the methanation reactors. Also there we see a significant decrease from a cost point of view. We also see gains in efficiency. I think efficiency of electrolyzers and also of methanation reactors are already good as of today, but there's still something in from technical development point of view to make them even more efficient as they are as of today. We also did a lot of simulations on how production costs will develop over time. In the previous slide, I just mentioned CapEx, just mentioned investment cost. Now I'm referring a bit to production cost. And for that, we did not use the demo sites I just mentioned earlier on, but we looked into a 100 megawatt plant, which produces hydrogen and which converts hydrogen to synthetic natural gas via methanation. We looked into that one in the years 2020, 2030, and 2050, and we had different scenarios. One is that this plant was supplied with photovoltaic, with solar energy, for renewable energy from photovoltaic, renewable power. The other was wind, and the other scenario was just to use the grid and to buy a mix of renewable gas from the grid. And what is quite obvious, we think that we will end up in a range of 5, maybe 10 cents per kilowatt hour of synthetic natural gas produced in future, which is of course not competitive to natural gas, but at least we think based on political regulations, political support, and especially the question, how expensive will it be to burn fossil gas due to CO2 taxes or other things, we believe that we can reach an economic basis there. As I said, we also looked extensively into the regulatory systems. One major finding was it's not all in favor of power to gas. It's not all in favor of green gases, biomethane, as well as synthetic natural gas. And there need to be a lot of hurdles to be overcome to make it possible to have this technology to be developed over time. Where we strongly believe, and that's also what we think is the key result of this research project, is it is a way to push forward and to support transition of the energy system into a greener future. Technology is there, economics will become much more favorable, and of course a regulatory framework, and we work on that one extensively, also needs and will support it in future. By the way, we will have a kind of a political evening in Brussels early December, and that's a way for us to present results to MEPs, to parliamentarians, to the Commission, and also to ask them, please support us by changing the system that this technology can be developed over time. Thank you.
Okay, we can take one question if we have a question before. Okay, back there, please.
Good morning and thank you for the presentation. I have a little question. In the case that you're producing hydrogen and have at the same place CO2, are there no other products like liquids, methanol, kerosene, which are way more valuable as end products than methane? I mean, at the moment we are using methane to produce hydrogen and to produce other chemicals with it. Why are we not using the hydrogen first as hydrogen and then second for higher valuable products like kerosene? Because we need to decarbonize our flying sector as well, and instead of producing a low value product like methane. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question. I think there are 2 points in your question. One is why do we not use the existing methane, fossil methane, to produce hydrogen and then just burn the hydrogen? I think it's quite obvious. That's gray hydrogen which we produce. It's not renewable, it's not green. The basis for that one is CH4. And if we just split it off, we will have CO2 which will be released to the atmosphere, and that does not help to reach climate targets in the end. That we will believe that this also has to be changed into a system where we have green hydrogen, which can only be produced by power to gas or from cracking biomethane in the end. The other point is, I think there you're right, you can use these processes, power to gas, renewable green hydrogen, produced from solar and wind energy via electrolysis, also to produce higher hydrocarbons. Natural gas, or gas, it's not natural gas anymore, they call it synthetic natural gas, CH4 is only one step. Of course, you could do it also to convert it into synthetic fuels like synthetic diesel, synthetic kerosene, whatever. But the process becomes more complex, it will be more costly, and in the end it needs to be seen where there are special applications like in air traffic where you just have to use kerosene in the end, and you have to produce kerosene renewable. There is no hydrogen from my point of view. There's also no electric planes, at least not the big ones, maybe smaller ones, I don't know. So then you have to go to add this step as well. But the research project was just up to the step of methanation, producing synthetic natural gas.
Well, thank you, and thank you, Dr. Gerstain, for a very interesting presentation.